Wondered if the pennies you have in your pocket could be worth a small fortune? Well, there's one specific coin that could be worth far more than you might think, an incredible amount, in fact, of up to $1.9 million. Let's take a closer look at the 1949 Lincoln penny and uncover its value, history, and the reason why this coin is such a hot topic among collectors. Rarest coins. Today, the 1949 Lincoln penny is often overlooked in the world of coin collecting, but this simple penny, which was minted more than 70 years ago, has a fascinating history and some surprisingly rare variants that can fetch extraordinary prices. But what makes the 1949 penny so special? Let's start by diving into its rich history. The Lincoln penny, which was first introduced in 1909, was designed by Victor David Brenner to honor the 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln. Over the years, the penny has gone through various changes. The most iconic change came in 1959 when the reverse design was altered from a wheat stalk to the Lincoln Memorial. But before that, the penny featured the familiar tiers design, which was in circulation from 1909 until 1958. Now, the 1949 Lincoln penny falls within the Wheatback series, produced by the U.S. Mint during a time when the country was recovering from World War II. It's a symbol of both resilience and everyday life in post-war America. But, just like any coin, some years and variations are rarer and more valuable than others. So, what's the real story behind the 1949 penny's value? There are actually a few different versions of the 1949 penny, based on where they were minted. The most common 1949 penny was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. However, you'll also find rarer versions minted in Denver and San Francisco, which can be even more valuable depending on their condition and scarcity. As with any coin, the condition is everything. In the world of numismatics, the condition of a coin is graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. A 1949 penny in mint state, particularly a higher grade example, will be worth significantly more than a penny that's worn or damaged. But here's where things get even more interesting. There are certain 1949 pennies with unique characteristics that have made them especially desirable to collectors. One of the most valuable 1949 pennies is one with a very rare die error, known as the 1949D/S. This coin features a minting mistake where the D mint mark is stamped over an S mint mark, creating a unique and highly sought-after variety. This particular error was created at the Denver Mint, and coins like this are incredibly difficult to find. Coins like the 1949D/S penny can be worth tens of thousands of dollars, even in less than perfect condition. However, a well-preserved version of this error coin can command prices as high as $1.9 million in the rarest cases. That's right, a $1.9 million for a coin that, to the untrained eye, might just seem like another penny. So, what makes the 1949D/S penny so valuable? The answer lies in its rarity and the fact that it's a mint error, one of the many things that collectors love about coin hunting. Mint errors, whether they involve a misprinted date, a double strike, or a mint mark mistake like this one, are prized for their uniqueness. If you happen to stumble upon a 1949 penny, it's always worth examining closely. You never know, you might just have a hidden treasure on your hands. But even if you don't find a 1949D/S penny, other versions of the 1949 Lincoln penny can still carry substantial value, especially if they're in high-grade condition. Before you go, here's a quick tip. If you come across a 1949 penny, make sure to check for any signs of wear or unusual markings. A penny in mint condition is definitely worth holding onto, and if you suspect that maybe a rare die error or a high-grade example, it's worth getting it appraised by a professional. Whether it's a 1949 penny in perfect condition or a rare mint error, this coin proves that sometimes the most valuable treasures are hiding right under our noses. Keep looking, keep collecting, and who knows, you could be holding a penny that's worth millions. Thanks for watching. and be sure to subscribe for more exciting coin stories and valuable finds. This script takes the viewer on a journey through the history and value of the 1949 Lincoln penny, highlighting why some versions are worth up to $1.9 million. By combining storytelling with key information on mint marks, errors, and grading, it creates an engaging and informative video that will captivate coin enthusiasts and collectors alike. Welcome back to the channel where pocket change turns into treasure, and everyday coins reveal million-dollar secrets. Today, we're shining the spotlight on the 1978 Lincoln penny, a common-looking coin with an extraordinary backstory. While millions of these were minted unused in everyday transactions, one particular specimen shocked the numismatic world by reportedly selling for an eye-popping $1.6 million. That's right, a penny worth more than most luxury cars and even some homes. So how did this coin go from 1 cent to a massive fortune? Let's dive into the history, the value, and the one incredible discovery that made headlines. The Lincoln penny has been a staple in American currency since 1909. When it was introduced to celebrate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person and replace the Indian head cent. From 1909 through 1958, the reverse side featured 2 wheat stalks. But in 1959, to honor Lincoln's 150th birthday, the design changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial, and this design lasted all the way until 2008. The 1978 penny falls within this memorial series. The D mint mark under the date signifies that it was minted at the Denver Mint. In that year alone, the Denver Mint struck more than 4.2 billion Lincoln pennies. That's billion with a B. So it's fair to say that the 1978 penny is not rare in the traditional sense. Most of these coins were spent, circulated, and are still found in change today. But as collectors know, rarity isn't just about how many were made up, it's about condition, unique features, and extraordinary mint errors. In circulated condition, the 1978 Lincoln penny isn't worth more than a few cents. Even in uncirculated condition, most examples are valued at just a few dollars. But as we climb the grading scale and enter into the realm of high-grade mint state coins, the value starts to rise. A pristine, red luster coin graded MS67 or higher becomes a collector's dream. These are the kinds of coins that were never spent, never handled, and preserved carefully for decades. Now, let's talk about the game changer, the 1978 Lincoln penny that reportedly sold for a mind-blowing $1.6 million. What made this coin so special? It all began with a sharp-eyed collector who noticed something strange about the coin's appearance. Under magnification, it was revealed that this penny had been struck on a bronze plankett, a type of metal blank that was supposed to have been phased out years earlier. That alone was a major discovery. But it didn't stop there. The coin also exhibited flawless strike details, extreme red color, and zero visible imperfections. It was graded MS68 red by a top-tier grading company, making it not only a stunning example of a high-grade Lincoln penny, but also a one-of-a-kind mint error that combined both rarity and beauty. This was not a typical 1978 penny. It was a perfect storm of numismatic value, a wrong plankett, superb condition, and a powerful backstory. After appearing at a major coin convention and drawing national attention from collectors, dealers, and even museums, it was eventually sold in a private transaction for a jaw-dropping $1.6 million. For 1 penny. That's history in the making. Now you might be thinking, how can I tell if I have a valuable 1978 penny in my own collection? First, look at the condition. Coins with a bright, reddish shine and no signs of wear could be mint state examples. These are graded from MS60 all the way to MS70. The higher the number, the more valuable the coin. Next, look for errors. The most valuable 1978 pennies are those with dramatic mistake, as double dies, off-center strikes, or being struck on the wrong plankett like bronze or silver instead of the standard copper-coated zinc. If you find anything unusual, It's worth having the coin checked by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Their authentication and grading can make a huge difference in determining value. Another tip: use a scale to weigh your pennies. A standard 1978D penny should weigh about 3.11 grams if it was made of copper. If it weighs significantly more or less, it could be struck on a wrong plankett, which can add massive value. Also, be sure not to clean your coin. Even though it might be tempting, cleaning a coin can ruin its surface and reduce its value instantly. Coin collecting isn't just a hobby, it's a journey through time, a search for hidden treasures, and a chance to uncover stories that history has almost forgotten. The 1978D Lincoln penny is proof that even the most ordinary-looking coin can hold extraordinary secrets. It's a reminder to pay attention to the small details, to preserve what others overlook, and to always keep your eyes open, because you never know when that next penny in your hand might be worth a fortune. Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed this story, hit that like button, subscribe for more incredible coin videos, and ring the bell so you never miss our next episode. Got a coin you want us to investigate? Drop it in the comments, and remember, the next $1 million discovery could be just one coin away. Let me know if you want help with a video title, thumbnail text, or a shorter version of the script too. Imagine this: you're going through your old coins, maybe just cleaning out your pocket change, and you come across a 1971 Lincoln penny. It's an old coin, but nothing too special, right? Well, think again. What if I told you that this very coin could be worth up to $1.7 million? It might sound unbelievable, but it's true. In this video, we're going to dive into the fascinating history of the 1971 Lincoln penny and uncover what makes certain versions of this coin so incredibly valuable. To understand why the 1971 penny is so valuable, we first need to take a look at the history of the Lincoln penny itself. The penny, first introduced in 1909, was designed by Victor David Brenner to honor Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Over the years, the design has gone through changes, but the most significant change came in 1959 when the reverse of the coin was switched from the wheat stalks to the Lincoln Memorial. Since then, the penny has become one of the most widely recognized coins in American currency. The 1971 Lincoln penny, like many of the pennies minted during the late 20th century, looks similar to the ones you'll find in circulation today. It features the classic image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, with the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But it's not just the design of the coin that's important, it's what happened in 1971 that sets this year apart from others. In 1971, the U.S. Mint was still using the same copper composition for the penny that had been in place for decades. However, 1971 was a year when the Mint experienced some unexpected quirks in its production process. While the regular Lincoln penny was nothing extraordinary at first glance, one specific error produced in 1971 would change the game for coin collectors and make this coin highly sought after in the market. Enter the 1971 double die error. This is one of the most sought after varieties for collectors. The doubling effect occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned, causing the design to be struck multiple times. This results in a noticeable doubling effect on the coin's design, particularly around the date, the word "A Liberty," and the phrase "A in God We Trust." The doubling is subtle but unmistakable when you know what to look for. To the untrained eye, the doubling on a 1971 penny might be hard to spot, but when you closely examine the date and lettering, you'll begin to notice a slight duplication. If you find a 1971 penny with this double die error, especially one that's well preserved and in mint condition, you could be looking at a coin worth thousands of dollars, if not more. Now, you might be wondering, how much is a 1971 double die penny worth? In most cases, a regular 1971 penny isn't worth more than its face value of 1 cent. However, the 1971 double die penny can be worth a significant amount depending on its condition. A coin in uncirculated or near mint condition, with sharp, visible doubling, can easily fetch prices ranging from hundreds to tens of thousands of dollars. And in extremely rare cases, A 1971 double-die penny has been sold for as much as $1.7 million. In fact, some of the rarest and most well-preserved 1971 double-die pennies have made headlines for breaking records. These coins, which are almost perfectly struck and show off their doubling features in crystal-clear detail, can attract fierce bidding from collectors at auctions. A 1971 double-die penny in mint state has reached jaw-dropping prices, proving that even a penny, one that might seem insignificant to most people, can be worth an incredible fortune. Of course, not all 1971 double-die pennies are worth $1.7 million. The value of any coin, especially one with a minting error, depends heavily on its condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. With 70 being perfect. The higher the grade, the higher the value. A 1971. What if I told you that a simple penny, one that you might find in your pocket, could be worth millions of dollars? It might sound unbelievable, but it's true. Yes, specifically, the 1972 Lincoln penny, a coin that has a unique history and certain rare versions that can be worth an astonishing $1.6 million. In this video, we're going to dive deep into the history of the 1972 Lincoln penny, its value, and what makes certain versions of this coin so incredibly valuable. The Lincoln penny, first introduced in 1909, has been a staple of U.S. currency for over a century. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the penny features the iconic image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and has undergone several changes throughout the years. But in 1972, something happened to the Lincoln penny that would make it stand out in the world of coin collectors. Before we jump into the 1972 version, let's quickly remember that the Lincoln penny has always been a symbol of American history. Its design, with the image of Lincoln and the famous Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, has remained one of the most recognizable symbols of the country. For decades, the penny was produced with the familiar Wheat Stocks design until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design, which is still used on the reverse today. Now, let's take a look at the 1972 Lincoln penny. This coin was minted during a time of significant economic change. The country was experiencing inflation, and the U.S. government was dealing with the aftermath of the Vietnam War and the effects of the 1971 devaluation of the dollar. Despite the challenges of the time, the 1972 penny was like any other. It circulated freely and didn't attract much attention initially. At first glance, the 1972 penny seems like just another coin. But upon closer inspection, collectors discovered that there were certain versions of the 1972 penny that were not only rare but also incredibly valuable. So, what makes the 1972 penny special, and why are some of them worth up to $1.6 million? The answer lies in a rare minting error that occurred with the 1972 penny, the famous double-die obverse or DDO error. This error is the result of a die that was improperly polished or adjusted, which caused the design to be stamped twice in slightly different positions. The result, a distinct doubling effect on the images of Lincoln's hair, his eyebrows, and the date itself. If you look closely at a 1972 penny with this error, you'll notice the doubling in Lincoln's facial features, especially around the areas where the date is stamped. This doubling effect is what makes the coin so special and valuable to collectors. While this error was not uncommon, finding a high-quality example in excellent condition is what makes it so rare. A 1972 Lincoln penny in excellent condition, with a noticeable double-die error, can be worth tens of thousands of dollars. But if you happen to come across a specimen with minimal wear and a near-mint condition, it could fetch up to $1.6 million at auction. That's right up. This penny, which most people would overlook, has the potential to be one of the most valuable coins in your collection. In fact, some of the highest auction prices for the 1972 DDO penny have reached incredible amounts. These coins are prized by numismatists because they are part of a limited group, and because of the difficulty in finding one in such pristine condition. While it's rare to find a coin like this in your change, if you do, it's worth getting it examined by a professional. One of the most exciting things about coin collecting is discovering rare and valuable pieces like the 1972 double-die error penny. But how do you know if your penny is worth money? First, check for the doubling effect. Look closely at the date, the lettering, and Lincoln's features. If you notice a noticeable double strike, that's the first clue that you'll